This story unfolded in one of the medical institutions in our city, located on the outskirts of an old 3-story building. Having recently graduated from medical school, I decided to start my career here. I managed to get a job quickly because several nurses had recently left and I was hired. Only a week had passed when the day I was about to talk about arrived, my day on duty. Usually we had 3 people on duty, a security guard, the head of the department, and a deputy head. On this day, when everyone had already left in the evening, only the 3 of us remained. Me, a security guard named Alexei, and Sophia, our deputy manager. They closed the doors and poured tea. The number of patients was minimal, so there wasn't much work to do. Everything changed when I decided to check the condition of the patients. Having risen to the 2nd floor, a child's cry was suddenly heard in the silence of the hospital. I stopped, listening, and realized that the child was crying somewhere on the 3rd floor, very close to me. This caused me concern, since at that time there was not a single child in the hospital, and the 3rd floor was completely empty. Approaching closer to the source of the sound, I listened to crying from one of the rooms. I headed there and opened the door. There was someone under the blanket on one of the beds. This figure slowly swayed from side to side, continuing to cry. "Hey!" I tried to say, moving closer and extending my hand. The movement stopped, and when I pulled off the blanket, I discovered that there was no one under it. Empty. With my mouth open, I began to retreat when there was a stomp behind me, and the door to the room slammed shut. Taking off in surprise, I ran to the doors and opened them. They were walking quickly in the corridor, as if someone small with bare feet was running away from the room. Looking out into the corridor, I heard laughter. Turning around sharply, I noticed how someone small was hiding behind the bed. The laughter belonged to a child. Leaning back in surprise, I jumped out of the room. Laughter and crying came from all sides. Running children crawling on all 4s flashed along the walls and ceiling. I screamed, fell, and rolled down the stairs. Feeling pain in my body, I saw that no one was coming down for me, and only children's voices were heard somewhere on the 3rd floor. "Margarita!" Artem shouted, running to me and helping me get up. "What's happened?" "Children," I said with difficulty. Looking up, Artem said, "Let's go down. They won't catch us there. We need to talk." Having gone down to the 1st floor, we entered Sophia's office. Having received a cup of hot tea, she began her story. It turned out that there was a fire in this hospital a long time ago, and then there was a children's block on the 3rd floor. The fire was not very strong, but there was a lot of smoke, and many children suffocated. Since then, after reconstruction, strange things began to happen on the 3rd floor. Staff and patients heard children's footsteps and voices along the corridors and in the wards, laughing and crying. At night, shadows of children ran on the floor. Patients were no longer sent there, but silence came at the cost of staff leaving. After Sophia's story, it became clear to me that I couldn't work here. Now I work in another medical institution and everything is fine. But sometimes it seems to me that somewhere in the corner of the floor there is a terrible cry of dead children. Our story begins on a stormy night, a night that would be etched into the memories of those who bore witness to the inexplicable events that unfolded. Mercy Hospital, a seemingly ordinary medical facility, was about to become a stage for the paranormal. Nurse Emily, a dedicated caregiver, was assigned to the night shift in the abandoned wing of the hospital. As she made her rounds, the flickering lights cast long, ominous shadows on the cold, sterile walls. Unbeknownst to Emily, Mercy Hospital held a dark secret. Rumors of unexplained phenomena and ghostly apparitions were whispered among the staff, but she dismissed them as mere superstitions. On this particular night, Emily entered room 666 a room that had been sealed off for decades due to a mysterious and tragic incident. The air grew thick with an unsettling energy as she approached the room. Reluctantly, she pushed open the creaking door, revealing a room frozen in time. As Emily moved deeper into the room, the temperature plummeted and the air became suffused with an otherworldly chill. Suddenly, the heart monitor in the corner sprung to life, emitting an erratic beeping that mirrored the rhythm of a distressed heartbeat. A spectral figure materialized at the foot of the bed, a silhouette of a former patient, adorned in hospital attire. Frozen in terror, Emily could only watch as the apparition began to communicate through faint whispers. The ghostly patient revealed a tale of medical negligence and a tragic death that had been covered up by the hospital staff. Seeking justice for the wrongdoing that had cost them their life, the spirit's tormented presence lingered within the desolate walls. As the night wore on, Emily became a reluctant intermediary between the spirit and the world of the living. The ghost's anguished pleas for justice echoed through the empty corridors, creating an atmosphere of terror that permeated every inch of Mercy Hospital. Word of Emily's haunting encounters spread among the hospital staff, and a brave few joined her in seeking the truth. Together, they unearthed the hospital's dark past, exposing a history of malpractice and cover-ups that had plagued Mercy for decades. The truth eventually freed the tormented spirit, but the echoes of that fateful night still echo through the haunted halls of Mercy Hospital. Truth, which was once a liberating force, became the catalyst for a new kind of fascination. A morbid fascination that attracted those who sought contact with the unknown. Paranormal enthusiasts flocked to Mercy Hospital, cameras and recording devices in hand, eager to capture traces of the ethereal residue that clung to every crevice of the hospital. In the silence of the night, shadows played tricks on the mind, and whispers seemed to materialize from the very walls. Mercy Hospital became a ghost theater, where the line between reality and the supernatural became blurred. The community, once united by the desire for healing, now finds itself embroiled in a common dance with the remaining mysterious forces. So the legacy of that haunted night survives not as a closed chapter, but as an ongoing narrative. Mercy Hospital became a living paradox, a place where healing and horror coexisted, inviting those brave enough to delve into the mysteries that permeated its foundations. The echoes of truth freed the spirit, but at the same time, tied the living to the ever-unfolding story of the terrible events within the once hallowed walls of Mercy Hospital.